I have a cousin named Malik, 19 years old, still smells like the gym half the time, and absolutely convinced he's found a shortcut the rest of humanity somehow missed. He found it at my place, actually. Wrong lesson, right example. I don't look like money, if that's even a look. I drive a car that's paid off and deeply uninteresting. I've worn the same camel jacket to 3 family events in a row, and nobody's organized an intervention yet. For years, Malik assumed I just didn't make much. Then I covered part of my sister Destiny's baby shower without blinking, and I watched him do the math in real time. Unfortunately, he did the wrong math. He didn't hear, Layla planned for this. He heard, there's a trick, and Layla's been hiding it. So one Sunday at my mom's table, Malik leans over and asks me straight up,
How do I get where you are? Like, actually get there. Not in 20 years. Now.
I told him the truth. My money didn't arrive. It accumulated. Those are different words for a reason. Malik made a face like I'd handed him a participation trophy. Here's the thing about being 19 and hungry. Every dollar feels urgent. Malik had $100 saved from a birthday and a summer of cutting lawns, and he wanted that $100 to become something impressive before the semester started. Not useful, not stable, impressive. He'd been watching some guy online who claimed to have turned $2,000 into $11,000 in 9 days, on a coin nobody outside that video had ever heard of. Malik showed me the screenshot like it was evidence in a federal trial. Green arrows, a percentage with far too many digits, a rocket emoji, naturally, very scientific. Functionally, he was showing me a winning lottery ticket and asking why everybody wasn't buying lottery tickets for retirement. Same seduction, better graphics. I didn't lecture him. Lecturing a 19-year-old about patience is a great way to help him practice looking patient while thinking about literally anything else. So I told him a story instead, because that's what actually lands in this family. Picture 2 19-year-olds standing at the same starting line. One of them takes $5 a day, small enough to feel almost invisible, and puts it into a low-cost, broadly diversified index fund. No clever pics, no secret group chat, no app sending notifications that make your heart rate qualify as cardio. Just $5 every day. The other one keeps the $5 and waits. For a better moment, a sure thing, a tip, a coin that's about to pop off, in Malik's words. $5 a day doesn't feel like a strategy. That's exactly why it works. It's small enough to repeat. By the end of year 1, the savers put away about $1,800 before any real growth. Doesn't sound life-changing, because it isn't, not yet. That's where people get bored, and boredom is one of the most underrated forces in personal finance. Malik, watching that account daily, would have lost interest by month 3. No doubling, no screenshots, no man on the internet yelling that this changes everything. Just money quietly sitting there. Rude, honestly. 5 years in, that habit's built something like about $10,000. Still not retire at 24 money, but something started happening. The money's beginning to help. Not dramatically. Compounding is annoyingly unimpressive in the beginning. That's one of its worst marketing problems. Meanwhile, Malik's hypothetical coin has had 2 generational opportunities. 3 influencers have changed their profile pictures, and 1 collapse has happened that nobody involved ever mentions again. I've noticed this about speculative losses. The wins arrive with screenshots. The losses enter witness protection. 10 years in, $5 a day has grown to almost $25,000. The savers personally contributed about $18,000 of that. The rest is growth. Not enough yet to say the money did all the work, but enough to notice it started showing up for its shift. That's where the story changes. The habit stays small. The machine behind it gets bigger. That's the part Malik's generation, honestly, plenty of people in mine too, tends to skip past. Nobody makes a viral video called, "Nothing happened today," and that's the point. Although, now that I say it out loud, I'd probably click. I asked Malik to guess how much of the money in my accounts had come directly from me. Not the balance, just what I'd physically put in from my own paychecks over the years. He guessed high.
6 figures. Easy.
I looked at him. Malik, what do you think I do for a living? He shrugged. Apparently, in his version of my life, I'd been quietly moving cartel money through an index fund. The real answer was less exciting. I'd contributed consistently, sometimes more, sometimes less. Months I could increase it, and months life looked at my budget and laughed. But over time, the gap between what I'd put in and what the account was worth started widening. Slowly, then more noticeably. The returns stayed invested, and then they earned returns too. That's compounding. People talk about it like magic. It isn't. It's math with an unreasonable amount of patience. And patience is the one ingredient nobody can sell you in a course. That's what finally got through to Malik. Not the total, the relationship between time and effort. The idea that if you start early enough, your future doesn't have to be funded entirely by your future self. Then came the question everybody asks eventually.
Fine, but what if the market crashes right after I start?
Good question. Probably the wrong worry, though. I told him about a stretch when my own balance dropped hard and fast, a third of it gone in weeks. Malik didn't know that had ever happened. Of course he didn't. I hadn't announced it at Thanksgiving. I didn't sell. I didn't suddenly become a market expert. I kept contributing on schedule, which meant that while prices were lower, the same money bought more shares. Did I know where the bottom was? Absolutely not. Nobody does in real time. That's the point. The danger in a crash isn't just that prices fall. It's what fear convinces people to do next. Sell, wait for things to feel safe again, and discover the market already recovered without sending a personal invitation. I have lived through more than one downturn. I didn't sell during any of them. Not because I'm fearless. I once spent 45 minutes comparing hotel cancellation policies. I didn't sell because I had a plan that didn't require a brilliant decision in the middle of a panic. And because most of the time, I wasn't checking often enough to turn every red number into a personality crisis. Malik sat with that. Then he asked if $5 a day was really enough to matter, or if that was just something older people say to make young people feel better about not having more. Fair question. I told him it's not really about $5. It's about whether a small amount shows up consistently year after year. The number matters less than building a system that doesn't need you to wake up motivated every morning, because motivation's unreliable and automation is wonderfully boring. The real choice isn't between $5 and getting rich tomorrow. That was never on the table. The real choice is whether that money disappears into 100 forgettable purchases or gets sent ahead to meet the person you'll be in 20, 30, 40 years. He didn't fully believe me. 19-year-olds rarely believe the boring answer, especially when the exciting one has a rocket emoji. A few weeks later, we were all at my place for Sunday dinner, and Malik asked something different. No shortcut this time. He asked,
Did you ever regret not chasing something faster?
I thought about it longer than he expected, because honestly, sometimes I did wonder. You watch somebody make a ridiculous amount of money on something you ignored, and for 5 minutes you get deeply offended by your own responsible decisions. That's human. What you don't see in the screenshot is everything that came before it, or after. I've watched friends make fast money. I've also watched some of them lose it just as fast. Watched people spend months trying to win back one bad decision with an even bigger one. And I've watched boring money do something far less cinematic. Stay. So I told him the truth. The fast way has cost people I know real money. The slow way has never cost me a night of sleep. That was the whole answer. I didn't dress it up. Nobody at Destiny's baby shower was asking how I'd covered what I covered. They were just glad, when it mattered, that I could help. And maybe that's the part Malik missed when he first decided there had to be a trick. The point of building money slowly isn't to look rich. It's to create room. Room to help, room to leave, room to say no, room to survive a bad month without it turning into a bad year. 2 weeks later, Malik texted me a screenshot. For one terrible second, I thought the coin was back. It wasn't. It was an account. $5, automatic, first deposit gone before he could talk himself out of it. I texted back, very boring, proud of you. He sent an eye roll emoji. I'll take it. I don't know if Malik sticks with it. Most people don't, perfectly, especially at first. Life happens. The point isn't a flawless 40-year streak like some kind of financial monk. The point is to keep coming back. And Malik is 19, which means he has something more valuable than the $100 he was so desperate to multiply. Time. 40 years for small decisions to stop being small. I wish someone had explained that to me at 19. Not as a lecture, not as a chart showing how wealthy I could theoretically be if I never bought coffee again. Just this. You don't need to make your first $100 impressive. You need to make your first habit repeatable. Because the fast way makes noise. The slow way makes room.